Welcome to Warblog. Today I'm going to play Brazzaville. Before that I'm just going to have a little bit of a talk about the fact that I've been doing a lot of moderns recently, and there's a few other things I want to sort of talk about. But these are both from 1997. If you look back through the other stuff, some of these other ones, so there's a 1991, but mostly it's 2020, and that's because it's sort of, I've been, if you go to maybe 28, there's a 18, 18, 18, 18, 93, 93, 18, 91, 91, 96, so there's a good spread there. But if you look at this, it's, if you were to go to this one, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020, blah, blah. And I sort of thought, why is that? Why is that the case? Well, I'm a bit lazy. But the thing is, I actually enjoy the historic ones more. And when I did these, I realised how much I enjoyed them. And I sort of thought, I'm really tired of it. Not doing the old ones, because if you look down at the wars, look how many wars there are, and what I did there, this is not all of them. This is just me sort of like putting together, trying to get something from everything, so that I've got at least a list to sort of work with, and that's the intention. It's not supposed to be all moderns. But the thing is, I thought, hang on, how did I do that? I can't even remember doing that. How was I finding all these battles and things? And that's because I was doing some extra work, and I actually enjoyed that stuff. And I thought, I'm just going to do it. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I usually go to Wikipedia Modern Wars and I look through things. In fact, what I did, I actually went to this wars page, and I picked out I think I picked out the Congo War. Well, where is it? I'm pretty sure I picked out the Congo War. That needs to be a capital W, doesn't it? First Congo War. So that's what I looked at. And I thought, right, just randomly, I picked that one out. I thought, yeah, that looks as though there's probably a lot of battles to it. And then what I did, I went to the newspapers page. And I'm not going to go there because you have to dig down, but I've got a subscription for a newspaper account. And I did go to the Times online archive, but they finish at 1990, and this is 1997, so so I went to that one and I typed in the Congo War, and I typed in actually the beginning and the end of the Congo War, which is something like I think it was May 96 through to March 97, and I don't know how, but presumably I got June caught up in that. And I got this scenario, 9th of June. Now that was when the newspaper was published, and here it is down here. I've got it in the link. So it was the Aberdeen Press and Journal, Monday 9th of June. Now that doesn't mean that's when it happened. And I was reading in it, and and I looked at it, and the war ended on the first Congo War ended before this day, and I thought, well, what's this all about? Why is this still going on? And then I thought, well, I'll do it anyway because it's the first thing I found, and it's a conflict, and that's how I sort of want to do things. Because if you read the newspapers, they actually have quite a lot of. It's more kinetic. They say, troops today did this, troops today did that. if you actually read the Wikipedia on the Congo War, it's not quite like that. It's more the politics and all that background, and it's quite boring, really, from my point of view. And so that's sort of, you know, how I got to this stage. And then I was looking at it, and I thought, and I started to build it. There's a reason I'm not clicking into it immediately, because I want to say something else, but I started to build it, and I started to look into it. And then I realised that the 9th of June was like 6 days after the Second Congo War started. And the Second Congo War started on something like the 3rd or 4th of June, or the 5th or 6th of June. And then I realised, well, this must be the very start of the Second Congo War. This must be the first thing that made the Congo War happen. The reason I'm just stalling there a little bit is because I've done a few changes, and I don't want to talk about all of them, but this is one of them. I've added this little thing here. If you see this, that means there's a timeline. If you put your mouse over it, this game has a timeline animation that you can watch. So I'll just quickly show you what I mean by that. I know I've done this before. So up here, I'll maybe put this in maybe make this a nicer button. But this game I played the video, if you might have watched it. But if I click that, basically the timeline runs. And this is it took me an hour to play this game. And the timeline of that hour is condensed down to less than a minute. Now this doesn't take more than a minute, because I know, because I did it twice in 2 minutes. I've zoomed in a bit. It's quite an interesting animation because it looks a bit chaotic as you get all this stuff. He sort of comes down here like this. You see him. He's sort of way out, the front, and then they sort of push back into this line, and then all this chaos. You think, what's happening? But throughout, at the end, look at that, it's like a straight line. Complete order, straight line against a very extended line. And I thought, I didn't do that deliberately, but that's the timeline. So basically, now the only thing is I've got lots of timelines already in the game. There are lots of timelines already in the game, but I have to refresh the game to get the timeline thing. So, for example, if this had a timeline, which I think it does, no, it doesn't. It's not that important, but I thought I did one for that. Surely there's a timeline for this. Yeah, there's a timeline for that. So I could run the timeline. I'm not going to. But there's no thing there because I need to refresh it. And when I update it, it will do it. So there's probably about 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 timelines in existence. But it's started from scratch with regards to putting this little. And I love this little thing. I designed that myself. I mean, it's hardly a design of the century, I know, but I thought, how do I do a timeline? And I googled timeline icon, and there were some a bit like that. Most of them go the other way, like anti-clockwise. And I'm not one to sort of nick other people's designs, so I made my own. And I'm as impressed with that as I am with my my thing, my bulldozer icon for whatever. So anyway, so that's that. That's why I stalled. We're going to go into this. And so this is this scenario, but before I so you can see this took me no time at all to write. This is because I had to do some thinking to figure out what was what. This is basically a synopsis of the article, and so the reason I'm sort of boring pants off probably the entire planet with this is that this is what I looked at completely randomly, and in there was 2 articles. There was this one. But there was also the article, The Capture of Hastings Airport. there's nothing on this in Wikipedia or anything. It's just an aside, really. But it sort of says that they. So again, it's 3 short columns of text. Just this news article. RUF advance on Hastings Airport and seize it. Nigeria had been using the airport to fly troops in and supplies for its nearby military base. The capture left the Nigerians reliant on the more distant Lungi International Airport. Now, the thing is, that's all it pretty much said. There's a few other bits and pieces, but what I don't know is where they came from. Now, I'm guessing that they came from here. This road actually comes down here and then back up this way, but it's just off the map. If you can actually almost see it on the raw map. It goes off like that and back into the main part, Sierra Leone. This is like the southwest of Sierra Leone. But it could be that they actually hold Freetown and they're coming this way, and they do seem to sort of suggest that they might have been allowing the Nigerians to operate from here, but because they found out that they were flying ammunition in, then they took control of it. So they might have already had control of all this area. The point is, I don't know the background. I mean, this is what I like about the research, because you put these pieces together. So, for example, the next one I could do is the capture of Hastings. But that's sort of irrelevant, really, because we're talking about this one here. But the thing is, the articles are on the same thing. So the article was 2/3 this and 1/3 the other. And it was just a little footnote. Even though they were the articles, they weren't actually big half-page or quarter pages. They were very small bits of text written up against this in 1997. But like I say, I couldn't figure it out. I thought, well, maybe this is just like, a bit of aggression, a bit of a sort of, this is just the Cobra militias getting a bit grumpy, but basically it looks like the start of the Civil War, and that's a major event, and then just pick that out completely randomly. That's why I'm dwelling on this, really, because it's sort of like, it wasn't my intention to find that very small snippet of probably less than 500 words in a newspaper article, 1/3 of which was for the Sierra Leone thing, Hastings Airport event. And here you have it. So, and that's how it sort of works out. So essentially, what they're doing here, they take over the downtown area. So that's what Brazzaville is. Then they go to take the Treasury and the Prime Minister's office and march on the town hall. A key thing here is that they basically raise up a lot of refugees. So some of that comes from an old newspaper I was looking at, but appears to reflect the very start of the Second Republic of the Congo Civil War. The article refers to heavy fighting in Brazzaville between militia groups thought to have been Cobras and troops loyal to President Pascal Lissouba. The battle sent refugees fleeing across the Congo River into Kinshas by way of the Smugglers Route, which is like, they actually use boats. So what I've done, basically, as you stomp around here, refugees will be raised up. The refugees have got to flee down here, basically through Smugglers Route. This is all sort of swampy rivers and things like that. So I think they might have gone by boat across here and boat across here. I don't know, but I'm calling this Smugglers Route because I can't make the refugees go across, the entire hex of sea without making the Marines. I have thought of putting in something to make them amphibious, but it's a lot of hassle. It's easier to just do that. So that's Smugglers Route. And then you've got to basically send them down here. The Wikipedia article states that the Second Republic of Congo War started on the 5th of June. The newspaper is dated the 9th of June. Considering that there would have been a few days lag, considering it was 1997, no internet, well, not really. I suppose there was a bit of internet, wasn't there? It is only reasonable to imagine that it is the start of the Second Republic War. Except they don't know it at the time, and that's the thing that amazes me. They didn't know it because this is the 9th of June. and it started on the 5th of June, not 197. That was more Roman time, the Romans, and I don't think the Romans were in Sierra Leone. The article, so basically, this is the thing, when you're dealing with history, most of it is in retrospect, but when it's actually happening, you don't know that it's retrospect. You don't know this is the start of the Second Congo War. The article states that the Cobras have taken the centre of the town and were heading for the town hall and have captured a number of small armoured vehicles and light tanks from the army. It does say that the French sent 500 troops in to reinforce their existing 450 troops after a French soldier was killed in the development of threats to French residents. To reflect this, there are 3 random French refugee units that the French need to protect. I was thinking, hang on. Oh, I know what's what. You can't see the refugees. So there are some French refugees that get generated, but the French player can't do anything other than protect those French refugees. So they sit there until that happens. But you've got to play it. So the Congo player plays the French, but they can't use the French units for their own military objectives. They can only use them if they follow that rule of. So it's a bit of a role play, really. The French refugee units that the French need to protect. Whatever. However, the DRC player controls the French units, but they can only act to protect the 3 French refugee counters if they are activated by the Cobra units moving into the hex. French reinforcements arrive at the airport. So the French reinforcements are these special forces, and they will arrive at the Maya airport. Now, I'm not sure whether it was Maya back then, but what the hell. It was reported that the mediation committee had been set up, and a spokesman for Nguesso had said, and I don't know the context of that, that that's what the article said. They had no intention of overthrowing President Lissouba. Lissouba was the current president, but apparently he hadn't respected. Following the end of the First Congo War, he hadn't implemented a lot of the things that he said he would, based on the agreement. There was an agreement of some sort to ensure political rights. So that's it. So I found it fascinating that I just accidentally picked up on, a major event. So, Cobra forces, Cobra militia. I know what's going to happen. Oh look, there's some French. Now, I did not do that on purpose, because basically there's 3 of them, and I'll give you a clue. The whole place is full of refugees, and they're randomly placed 3. So there's only 3. And the chances that it came in that one is bloody, sorry to swear, is very, very remote. And I didn't do that on purpose. First thing I already did it on purpose. Look at that. So now the French have to protect those units. Interesting. But we want to get to the centre of town, and the quickest way through there is oh, it's a tight one. It's through this way. Right, so we've forced these refugees back. Even more refugees. Look, they're just clogging everything up. But there are no French refugees there. Now we want to get into the centre of town, so we're going to have to go this way. Wow, that is quite incredible because it's just sort of like a big mass of refugees. We've got into the centre of town, so it's now the Congo turn. Well, the French refugees in particular are going to run there, and the French are going to try and protect them. All of the other refugees have to run away. They're heading for smugglers, whatever it is. That's interesting. They've gone and put themselves. That shouldn't have happened. They've gone and put themselves in an island. They obviously got it. It does mention they use dug out canoes, so that's what's happening there. So we've got some militia. We've got some military though. So it's quite chaotic, really, but clearly the game's afoot. Okay, so now there's no clear objective here in the sense that it's not a particularly strategic game. It's more a sort of a simulation of this very important part of this war. So we want to get into the treasury. There's more refugees on that little island. Okay. And we want to get into the Prime Minister's office, which is there. So we're going to have to fight our way through refugees. There is something else I actually wanted to show you. But we'll have to do it at the end. So that's their turn. So the French, well, we might as well go to the airport and might as well protect our French interests there. But here we don't really have we can't really fight. And there's some more. And the refugees are running away to smugglers, whatever it is. Oh look, there's some more French. I can't move. Okay. Well, we're going to beat the army up. But we've failed. So we're fighting them, which is all they did. But we've captured the centre of town. And it's now the Congo turn. I wonder if we can get across the river. Okay, well I think we might be able to fight in this stack. Of course, irregulars in massive build-up, so they failed. It's not too bad. It's probably more realistic. Yeah, that's a retreat unit. Okay. The Cobra units. Well, they've got everything now, so they now basically need to either fight these other units or head over to the town hall, which is what they did historically. So let's head over to the town hall. Oh look, more refugees. Where did they land? It looks like they landed in there. I'm only using 2 because I want the other one to at least pretend to protect those other areas. 4-1 DR, so we won that one. And again, more refugees. Look at them all. They're everywhere. Okay, so it's now the Congo turn. I like the way these refugees confuse things. They just get in the way, and you know, it's a really important part of modern war. I mean, it's not ideal because obviously you end up attacking them and killing them all, and you know, YouTube doesn't like that. Even though it's a historic representation, it's a historic modelling of what actually happened, they don't like it, and they actually took my Rwanda genocide. It wasn't a Rwanda genocide, it was the Rwandan Civil War, which was an exact replication of the Wikipedia article. And they took it offline, and they didn't even allow me to get a copy. I had to do a screenshot or something from, somehow I still had access to something, and I ran it and I did a screenshot, a screen scrape. I recorded it as it was playing, but it didn't come out very well. The noise was terrible, the sound was terrible. And I can just redo the video, but I watched it through, and it was important for me to watch it through because it did nothing. The worst that happened was there was one scenario where there were some refugees on a road, and I just attacked them and pushed them back and said something fairly nonchalant. But you know, it's a bit like that when I said, oh well, you know, we've attacked the refugees here or something like that. It's not that YouTube doesn't like, because I know this because there's another scenario. There are other wars, other campaigns where things of genocidal nature happen. In particular, there's the Madagascar one, where the Christians go across to, I think it's Madagascar or some sort of island in that area, and they chop off all the penises of all the Muslim men and shove them in their mouths and cut their heads off and things like that, because they take the Bible literally. And it was at 1950, and it was described as being one of the first, what we would describe as genocidal acts of war that ever happened. but YouTube hasn't spotted it. Why? Because YouTube's full of crap. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the expansive knowledge of things to allow them to make that determination. You know, oh, it's the Rwandan Civil War. Oh gosh, you know, he's done a video that has a bunch of hexagonal counters, and they deleted it. Now the thing is, they deleted it once, but they didn't just delete it. They sort of suspended it, and I appealed, and they put it back. I said, you know, they said, oh, you can't use this video because it's, you know, it's got genocide on it. It's Rwanda, basically. That's the only thing. And I appealed, and they put it back. I said, no, you're fine because it's just, you know, it's just a bunch of hexes and things like that. But what happened was there was something else, and I can't remember what it was, but I think it was around this sort of period where YouTube was suddenly, you know, obviously they're going mad now, and everything's being blocked and thrown off, and channels are being deleted. But there was another one that was, it was some event. It wasn't the adpocalypse, but it was shortly after that, and some people had their accounts removed. And when that happened, they actually deleted my video properly. You know, it seemed to be that they were trying to give me a hint or something. But here you got the situation, and you can't pretend that refugees don't exist, and this is a big part of it. You know, you read the article, they go through Smugglers Cove, and they end up in Kinshas, which is actually, I think, separate through the River Congo there to this part of the Congo. I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened, but this was, you know, the article dedicates some space to the movement of the refugees, and so you've got to sort of think, well, there's got to be a reason for that. You know, what is the reason for that? Oh, because it's important. You know, it's an important aspect of what was happening. And so here we have them. Let's put the French into there. Oh no. Oh no. It's got a horrible habit when there's a stack that's the wrong size, sometimes picking the wrong unit up, and that's a big problem because I can't stop it, and it's more down towards the browser than anything else. Well, I'm not going to attack the French, so. I think that's it. Oh no, oh no, we've got some mechanized. Right, we've got to remember that they're going to be so powerful in the city that we can't attack them. Okay. Right. Well, so we push them back. And that's all I want to do. Okay, so we're now going over the river. See, what we've got here is a massive trail. Of refugees. And there couldn't be anything more true to life than that. it's full. Well, I'll put some special forces in there. So that's all French. So we've got 2 equal stacks now. Two equal stacks. Special Forces Infantry, French refugees. Special Forces Infantry, French refugees. The same. Okay. Right, well we can't attack them, so but we might have a small chance against this. That was an exchange. Right. So the French are protecting their interests. They're holding that ground. They're going to hold that. And they're holding that. And that's it. No, the refugees do not want to fight the irregulars. They want to run away. Okay, that's it, and the French are protecting their interests. So we've got a stalemate now. We'll do one more move. My mouse is just not working for me very well. Oh, come on. It's one of the problems being in the relaxed position. Oh, come on. This doesn't have enough movement to do that. Okay. And that's that. We're not going to attack there. They're all protecting each other. And we're not going to attack. We're not going to attack there. We can't move him. Right. The Cobra units. Well, we're holding our positions here. We don't want to attack that yet. We're going to hold this, and we don't really want to attack this, although it might be a good move next. We'll do one more of these. Just move. Oh, come on, I don't understand why this is doing that. Right. Okay. And everything else is going to remain stationary. So I'm going to click the next turn, and I'm going to leave it at that. Now, as I said, it's not one of those games where you sort of think, oh, I wonder if I can win or not. We've basically just done a simulation, and that's the thing, you see. All we've done is simulate what happened, which is what I did with the Rwandan Civil War. And YouTube just didn't really like the fact that we simulated a historic event without any impartiality or opinion or anything. So we got what happened. You know, they're going across into Kinshas, where there's a refugee camp, going through Smugglers Route. The French have come down and protected their interests. We've got an interesting stalemate here, and here. Really, the Congo troops can't attack the Cobra militia. So, you know, I could do things to take it to the next level, but we don't really know much about that. But this is basically, so you could probably assume that, you know, one of the sides would start to reinforce the other, so that maybe some more Cobra units will appear, or maybe some more Congo units will appear. You know, we don't know what the activity of the French will be. But beyond that, it's actually quite interesting, I think. I think it's quite good representation of, you know, what happened. So I'm going to leave it at that. There isn't much more to do or to say. Interesting scenario. The only thing I do want to just say before I finish is that obviously I've got a Facebook page that never gets used. I mean, it never gets liked, or has 25 people liking this after 5 years. That's 5 people liking it a year about. It's pathetic. But what I have just done is I've just introduced a video timeline to this section here. I don't really see video timelines that much, but it doesn't seem to be working. Oh no, there it is. You can see things moving. Can you see the moving things? And that is because it's a video timeline. I share that. I find that to be fascinating, you know, that I can put the little video in there. I tried to put a video in before, and the problem was, I think, the videos I was trying to put in were like, you know, hour-long videos, and it was just too much. So this is less than 2 minutes, and I think because of that, it's accepted it. So if you want to do a video in your own Facebook title, it's got to be like less than 2 minutes, or very short. I mean, it might be 3 minutes, but this, I know this is less than 2 minutes because it's what I added. I did this for Twitter, and Twitter's got a 2 minute limit to it. So I thought I'd show that. But obviously, this is more of a simulation, so obviously, as I said, there's not much more I can do about it. It's like some of the other ones that I've done where I sort of thinking, oh, I did well, or this is a really strategic game. It's not. But and similarly with the capture of Hastings, I imagine we should be able to go straight through that. But it's nice to have got a couple of proper historic scenarios. I mean, 97, that's 23 years ago. I mean, it doesn't seem like that long ago, but you know, I think you start to realise that you're an old person when things like 97 are actually quite a long time ago, but you seem to think, oh, that was, I remember 97 for all it's worth. So there will be people that will look back on the year 2020 and they'll say, my God, you know, that was 23 years ago. So in the year 2043, people will be looking back on this year in the same way that I'm looking back on this year. It's all quite scary, really, the way time's arrow flies just onwards and onwards. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, and I will speak to you later. Cheerio.